two words: failed leadership. Okay. This is not how leaders act when it comes to strategy for our country, the safety of our country. I mean, and this isn't a political show, but I'm just going to say it, that when you have the President of the United States turning over a list of people to the Taliban. Okay, it's no mystery who attacked us on September 11th.
And what did he think would happen by sending over that list?
Right. What do you think would happen? Let me for the watchers and the listeners, let me break it down. That would be akin to a United States Secret Service agent turning over the movements of a protectee, whether it's the president, the vice president, first lady, or otherwise, to a known assassin. Come on, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know what the aftermath would be. Now we've got 13 of our fallen brothers and sisters that came home, and this was handled all wrong. Clear lack of leadership across the board. And I'm sorry, these generals, and all the way up, they need to look at themselves in the mirror, and they need to own this.
Welcome to The Right to Inspire. Journalist and host Sarah Strackhouse has worked at Fox News, the CW, CBS, NBC, and Time Warner cable stations across the country for more than 10 years, and is now focused on telling inspiring stories of those dedicated to making change. She's driving the message home that ultimately you have the right, the freedom, and the power to be the change you want to see in the world. You have the right to inspire.
Hey, thanks all so much for joining us today. I'm honored to be joined by Samantha Horwitz. She's a 9/11 first responder, former United States Secret Service agent, a speaker, author. Sam, thanks so much for joining us.
You bet, Sarah. It's such a pleasure to be with you.
Well, your story is so inspiring and moving, and especially in a time right now. It's September, of course, and so September 11th is just around the corner. But also, I love your opinion because I think you take a really good look at the situation going on in Kabul. I think you can really weigh in on this. But before we kind of get into that and talk a little bit about that, I want people to hear a little bit about your story. So can you tell people what happened on 9/11 when you were working?
Yeah, well, I was on my way to work with thousands of others and found myself in Tower 1, going up to cross the plaza level when American Airlines Flight 11 struck it. Had no idea that it was a plane. In fact, it wasn't until a significant time later after Tower 2 was hit, when we were on the West Side Highway, where we realized and found out what had happened, heard on the radio the Pentagon get hit, and we thought we were at war. And, a lot of things were going on that day. As you can imagine, the smells, the everything that I saw and experienced, it all kind of got imprinted on my brain. And with all of the work in the aftermath down at what would be termed Ground Zero that evening, the loss of my building, which wasn't only the headquarters for the Secret Service for the New York field office, but then Mayor Giuliani's Office of Emergency Management and other agencies were inside that building. It really hit home, and to think that it's been 20 years. I received a diagnosis of post-traumatic stress. In between, took about 3 years to figure out what was going on with me. And it impacted me personally. It impacted our agency. I was one of 8 agents to leave in a month because of effects of 9/11. And that just, you join, you're invited to be a Secret Service agent. You go through all the hard training, which saved my life that day. It helped me kind of turn the switch of panic and fear off and do my job the way I was trained to help a lot of people that day. It certainly helped immediately. And then things kind of unraveled after that. We weren't educated on post-traumatic stress. But you never think it's going to happen to you. until it does. And I thought that would be my career. But things turn out for the best. And here I am, 20 years later. I have a 501c3 called a badge of honor. And all we do is post-traumatic stress awareness and suicide prevention for first responders. And we have a lot of veteran, crossover into the first responder community. And so we do a lot of work with veterans as well, in addition to the veteran service organization that I head up here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area called the Travis Manion Foundation. We've been putting out our headquarters, which is in Doylestown, PA, been putting out statements of support. And I don't believe in coincidences. So everything that's going on, 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think people, you hear stories, right? And I think if you've never been through something traumatic like that, you think, wow, that's crazy. It's heartbreaking. But someone who's been through it, tell us about your experience of, I know you were in the elevator, kind of a fireball, you felt that fireball kind of hit you guys, what that experience was like. And then after you kind of talked a little bit about it, what that PTS really was for you.
Yeah, so inside the elevator car shook, and then it was like the most bizarre thing. We were just sucked up. All of a sudden, we started moving really rapidly, and then we stopped. And we stopped so abruptly, we stopped under the tension of the wires. So we were bouncing when the elevator car doors flew open. And exactly right, we were met with a hot ball of dust that blew us back into the elevator as we tried to step off. There was a debris field already on the lobby level where the elevator stopped, and my training brain took over. There wasn't panic. It was just a voice kind of inside my head that says, "Explosion, get out." And for those of us there on 9/11 that were trained first responders, you don't really think about yourself. You go into what you were trained to do. And in addition to protecting the presidents, past presidents, first ladies, etc., it's people. It's the motto of every police department pretty much is to protect and serve. Well, that we learned to do that in the Secret Service as an agent. And I just grabbed as many people as I could, and we got out. It wasn't until we hit the plaza level that we knew something catastrophic had happened, and I watched pieces of debris just rain down. So we're talking metal, concrete, and pieces of people. And like I said, the whole time my brain is taking pictures of all of this, storing the information. I would say the biggest thing two things that stick with me still, being on West Side Highway, watching the towers burn, and then experiencing the sight of people jumping, and you could feel them when they hit this concrete below. We were that close. It is something that as the days kind of lead up to September 11th on the anniversary date, it's a flash in my mind again. But it doesn't take me back, because I've all the therapy that I went through, which was highly effective, and learning to control triggers and stuff like that. It doesn't really grasp me and take me back anymore. It's also Muhammad Atta's face. So he was the pilot of American Airlines Flight 11 that struck Tower 1 where I was, and the Secret Service was detailed to trace the money. After 9/11, the Joint Terrorism Task Force was formed very quickly, and we were a part of that. And so tracing the money of how everything came together to make 9/11 happen, we walked into our field office every day to a whiteboard with the terrorist faces all plastered up there. So it was revisiting it every single day. And that night that I was able to get home to my apartment, we were ferried across the Hudson River by the Park Police that day, and met on the New Jersey side by the New Jersey field office agents who brought their government vehicles or personal vehicles, enough to get all of us home. We just packed them full. And I'm in my apartment, I'm in a safe place, and I want to get cleaned up because I'm covered in that dust that everybody knows what that dust looked like. All you have to do is turn on the TV, any documentary, and I just wanted to get all that off. And I could not be in my own bathroom with the door closed because I would start sweating. My heart would start beating rapidly. Now, if I opened the door and walked out, everything would dissipate. I didn't connect that it was actually the beginning of that anxiety response to post-traumatic stress until I got the education and figured out exactly what was going on with me. So it was pretty rapid onset, if you will. And then it cascaded into nightmares, very, very vivid nightmares, as if I was right there that evening. Hypervigilance, hyperarousal, you name it. All of the classic symptoms of post-traumatic stress, they just came one after the next. And, it took a long while to decide that I needed to deal with this after I had left the Secret Service, after my family saw me spiraling downward, and it was my mom who said, "Hey, we need you back here. Something's very, very wrong." I couldn't sleep without consuming immense amounts of alcohol. I mean, it was really bad. And yeah, that's the ugly side of how post-traumatic stress consumes you. And I made a difficult decision one night I didn't want to live like I was living. I was not myself. I didn't recognize myself, and I surely didn't like myself the way I was. And I convinced myself that nobody needed me. I was absolutely useless. And so in the wee hours of the morning, it happened to be a New Year's Eve. I tried to kill myself. Tried to put a gun to my head, tried to pull the trigger twice. And the first time I was interrupted by, from what I call, the man upstairs saying it wasn't my time, and then chose to ignore that, just drink some more to the point where I almost was ready to pass out. And he decided to send my dog the second time. And I firmly believe that dogs fulfill a purpose for not only people like myself, but a lot of others. And we all know service dogs and therapy dogs. And I have not been without a dog. In fact, I now have 3. And one is a trained therapy dog, and he's sitting right over here. And it's, you just, I think in the back of my mind, because I had had a dog in my life since I was born. I mean, born dog right there the whole time, that I couldn't pull the trigger again with my dog right there. It may sound crazy to a lot of people listening, but I couldn't harm myself with my dog right there sitting in my lap. And yeah.
Well, I think you were the one who told me this at one point. Dog spelled backwards, God.
Yeah.
But, and I think, the sad part of it is, obviously you're not alone. You go out and you speak to thousands of people all the time who are struggling with PTSD. And, I think the statistic is 22 veterans a day kill themselves. And I know you're trying to kind of take this disorder by storm and drop the D. So what exactly does that mean, PTSD?
Yeah, well, I think, depending on who you listen to, I like to say, we're in between like 17 and 22. So we've made some inroads there. I think what we're seeing now is it might actually up the number because of the Afghanistan situation. I hope not. I hope that people do reach out. Ultimately, that is the message, that you are absolutely not alone. That's one of the mottos for a badge of honor. And it is something that, because of myself and our entire board with a badge of honor, we've all been through it. Okay, we all have had our own experiences. One of the members, it went 10 years before he was officially diagnosed. So we get it when you don't want to say something, when you think you can't make sense of what's going on, you recognize that everything is not okay, but oh, I'm not going to be that person. I can't let people know that I'm not okay. We get it, and that's okay. What we don't want you to do is stay there. We want to give you the tactics, the tools, the resources to go outside your agency to get the help you need, and to let you know that that is where the stigma comes from. Okay. Post-traumatic stress disorder is called a disorder for one reason and one reason only. It's because you need to be classified. The people that are helping you through this, whatever letters are behind their name, that are the experts, they need to use it for insurance purposes so that they can get paid, so that you can get reimbursed. But what happens is a lot of people get stuck in this, I am disordered. I have this thing called post-traumatic stress disorder because somebody said I have that. Okay. What I want people to understand is it's only a classification. It's not you. Okay. There, you can learn how to manage your triggers. You can learn how to get out of that cycle of thinking about suicide and suicidal ideations that go along with this. You absolutely can grab onto the tools that, whether it's through a badge of honor in the workshop that we do, or professional help that is, sitting on the couch, or recreational therapy, kayak fishing, equine therapy. It's all available, and the research shows that it works. So you are not a disordered human being. You have something called post-traumatic stress because you've been through something. You've experienced a trauma or a series of traumas.
Sure.
But
and
hope.
Yeah, no, and that makes complete sense. And unfortunately, like you said, so many people coming back from Afghanistan, before we kind of get into probably what's the aftermath now, I want to ask you, what were your thoughts on us pulling out, how we pulled out, how we evacuated, and, with the Americans and those who were allies to the Americans still there now, what are your thoughts about everything that's going on?
The two words, failed leadership. Okay. Mm-hmm. This is not how leaders act when it comes to strategy for our country, the safety of our country. I mean, and this isn't a political show, but I'm just going to say it, that when you have the President of the United States turning over a list of people to the Taliban. Okay, it's no mystery who attacked us on September 11th.
And what did he think would happen by sending over that list?
Right. What do you think would happen? Let me for the watchers and the listeners, let me break it down. That would be akin to a United States Secret Service agent turning over the movements of a protectee, whether it's the president, the vice president, first lady, or otherwise, to a known assassin. Come on, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know what the aftermath would be. Now we've got 13 of our fallen brothers and sisters that came home. This was handled all wrong. Clear lack of leadership across the board. And I'm sorry, these generals, and all the way up, they need to look at themselves in the mirror, and they need to own this, because people died needlessly, and we're going to see even more.
Absolutely. I mean, this didn't need to happen. I keep seeing it in there. There were so many other options and ways to do this and to go in with a strategy. It didn't need to happen. And those who have been pulled out, I know you've talked about this before, survivor's guilt. Those who are back, or maybe are coming back, are still safe. What are they thinking right now? What are they going through?
Well, I've been out there. I speak to a lot of police departments. We have a large veteran population, especially here in Texas. And I got to just recently, as all this was unfolding last week, I checked in with veterans that I'm friends with. Hey, how you doing? You're on my mind, thinking about you. Reach out if you need help. I'm here just to listen. It is truly, we have to be the listening ear. But I asked the veterans in the class, and they're, wide range of ages, because we were in Afghanistan for 20 years. And the number one thing that they said is, what was it for? Why did I do what I did? The training I trained for. Yeah, we did some great things, but I watched my friends get blown up. They came back without arms, without legs, without sight. For what? And they're really grappling with that. That is what is going on. It's for what? Because what is happening now is just a complete disrespect, almost a slap in the face,
For all those who fought.
Right. And it's the volunteering that I've done with adaptive athletes, and it is really taking a toll right now. And we have got to, whether it's family, to think about how many Gold Star families we now have after, the 13 that we lost. It's senseless. And what we need to do now, as friends, as family members, as people that are connected to the veteran space, to the first responder space, is be a listening ear. Okay. They don't want to be fixed. Like I tell everybody when going through, I don't want to be fixed. Okay. I want somebody, when I'm in it, when I want somebody to listen, just let me talk. Let me tell you how I'm feeling. And then if I'm ready to say, I don't know what to do with this, then maybe take the next step.
What if someone has a family member, they just came back and they're struggling and they don't want to talk? How do you be supportive to someone like that right now? I'd say it's a little bit different depending on when you were deployed and when you're coming back, because a lot of the post-traumatic stress, the symptomology, the hard time that people are having are those that were there a while ago. But if you just came back, or you've been back and like I said, you've kind of tried to go on, maybe you're in a different career now, maybe that is first responder or something else. It is, family members have to be watching. Absolutely must be watching. We know from traumatic brain injury and post-traumatic stress, when you have people that have been exposed to TBI, symptoms can be exacerbated on any given day. I just listened to a podcast where a general, an Army general who did most of his service, the 20 years in Afghanistan, he said post-traumatic stress is the number one crisis the United States is facing right now because of the Afghanistan debacle. And families, just be there, pay attention, watch. Partners, coworkers, same thing. Because we're trained at the highest level, because we're trained to fix, we feel like we can fix ourselves. If anybody's telling you every time you ask, I'm good, or the proverbial, F word now, which I'm fine, don't accept that. But it's not about being confrontational. It's just about being that listening ear. And being there for them, sure.
Absolutely.
Well, if someone's listening to this, just kind of your final thoughts on Kabul, anything you really want people to know or take away, whether it has to do with those who have served and are coming back, or just the situation that we're dealing with right now.
Well, we've got a big situation that didn't have to be big, that now we've got to unravel. We have to see what's going to happen. Clearly, with flawed leadership, there's a lack of trust, a big time lack of trust. But I want everybody who's watching, you've got to look out for yourself. You are number one, whether you're just coming back, whether you were in, Afghanistan for a long time, and, so you're a veteran, whether you're a first responder, whether you've made transitions out, whatever it looks like, be your own advocate, be your own best friend. And there's lots of resources out there. You can visit abadgeofhonor.com and scroll down. We've got tons of resources, our numbers right there. Please reach out if you need help. You absolutely are not alone.
Wow. Well, Sam, thank you so much for joining us and weighing in on this. You know, I know it's such a big story right now, and unfortunately, like you said, didn't need to happen. So it's sad that it did, but I am happy that there's people like you out there that are really making a difference. So thank you so much for coming on. And how can people find out more about you if they want to hear you speak, they want to buy your book, they want to learn more about A Badge of Honor?
Yeah, thanks. A Badge of Honor's website, abadgeofhonor.com, to find out more about all of us as who are on the board, what we do, our workshops. You can also visit directly my website, SamanthaHorwitz.com. You can find my book there and some additional information and how you can get me as a guest speaker and all the fun stuff.
All right. Well, Sam, thank you so much. Like I said, you're doing amazing, amazing work, and I know it's so necessary, and you're out there saving lives. So is there anything else you want to leave people with before we go?
I just want to say that my heart goes out to everybody hurting right now. Truly praying for you every day, that everybody comes home safe. Our allied partners as well who are over there still. And yeah, that one phrase, that you're absolutely not alone. Just know that.
Well, thank you, Sam. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Sarah.
All right. Well, thank you everyone so much for joining us. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
You have the right to inspire.